And recording. Okay. So running for Senate in Queensland, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm talking this morning on the Healing Hour with Allona Lahn, who is running for the Queensland Senate. Good morning, Allona.
Good morning, Di. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Great. I'm absolutely fantastic. I've been for a big walk this morning. If I have time, I might go for a surf later on because I'm feeling really fit and healthy. And I know you are too. You're running around all over the place, and that's fantastic. So how have you been?
Under the palm, intense, out of control. And as you know, Di, all the time we have to watch our health because we have been sick in the past, or I've been extremely sick in the past. It's constantly looking after ourselves. But yeah, feeling good. Feeling good at this minute, so thank you.
That's fantastic because both of us have nearly died at times due to either misdiagnosis or mismanagement of medication or wrong medications. And in Australia, we have massive epidemics of chronic illness, not only in adults but also in children. And this seems to be ignored through many, many levels of health and government. And we both, I know that you do and I do, speak to many people who are very, very sick, or they're calling up, sending emails, desperate, asking what to do for their children, what to do for themselves, and really struggling to get through each day. As a candidate for the Senate, can you tell me what you will do if you are elected for the people of Australia and their health?
Yeah, Di, I want to cut back a little bit and actually just tell the people what the Involuntary Medication Objectors Party is about. Is that okay? So I'm actually standing in Queensland for the Senate, which means all of Queensland can vote for me. We actually have candidates in New South Wales and WA, and again, the whole state can vote. The Involuntary Medication Objectors Vaccination Fluoride Party was set up because of the concerns about the mass drugging of the people. We advocate no forced medication, no compulsory or coerced vaccination, and no fluoride in our water. We're super concerned about the health of Australia and where Australia is currently heading. And so I actually am vaccine damaged after the hepatitis B vaccine, and I have been extremely ill after the syntocinon injection, the natural birth of my daughter. And yes, I have nearly died. I've been in the system. I've seen rheumatologists, immunologists, allergists, and specialists. And at the end of the day, they couldn't help me. So hence the journey of natural health. But my concern is now, and the reason why I'm running for Senate is because of the health of Australia. And I will tell you now, I went to a candidate meeting and not one other candidate was concerned about the health of our children and Australia. That's a concern. I can't believe that nobody is openly talking about the health of Australia. So I want to stand up. I want to be a voice for the people. I am concerned about all the different diseases, the lack of acknowledgement for those with Lyme. I mean, that's just disgusting that is being ignored and not addressed. And the fact that Australia is #1 in the world for cancer, #1 in the world for allergies, and we have epidemics of anaphylaxis, eczema, autoimmune issues, behavioural disorders. I mean, we are in trouble. Australia's in trouble, and hence the reason I want to stand and be a voice for the people, and particularly those that are too sick or don't have a voice. So that's the mission. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I completely agree with you that there are just so many people who are going unheard, and it is quite shocking that health departments, governments, these sorts of things just seem to be going under the radar. There was big headlines about this, 40 people with the flu. And I thought, I speak to thousands of people, literally thousands of people who have been bitten by a tick and extremely unwell week after week, month after month, year after year. Now, I don't care whether you call it Lyme disease or a cat and hat disease. It really doesn't matter. But the fact is people are getting bitten by ticks, or even if they're not being bitten by ticks or they haven't noticed being bitten by ticks, they're coming down with all of these symptoms that match Lyme disease. They're chronically unwell, losing their jobs, their homes, their families.
Absolutely.
And this isn't just 40 people. I mean, no, I'm not taking away from the seriousness of what flu can do on very rare occasions. But there are thousands of people who are desperately unwell every single day for years, years and years. And many of them are attempting to take their lives. They're tempted to take their lives.
Yes.
And I went to a suicide prevention meeting with many people from health departments, doctors, head of hospitals. And this was 2 weeks after the Senate inquiry results were published in Parliament, were tabled in Parliament. And the recommendation said that that Lyme disease or at least tick-borne illness needs to be acknowledged, and practitioners need to be able to recognise and learn how to diagnose and treat properly people who have got these tick-borne illnesses. And so at this Senate inquiry 2 weeks later, at this suicide prevention meeting 2 weeks later, I had already stood up in previous meetings and said, look, I've had Lyme disease, or it's been diagnosed, but whether you call it Lyme or tick-borne illness, I was at the point where if I didn't realise what was wrong with me, I would have felt suicidal. And I think this really needs to be addressed. One of the doctors showed me a message that she had received from health departments or the AMA or whoever it was, saying that there is no Lyme disease in Australia. Now, this is absolutely horrendous. I know that thousands of people throughout Australia were directly impacted by this. Everyone was feeling quite hopeful that their condition would be recognised, that they would get some help and, at least some recognition and assistance. And it's all just been swept under the carpet. So there are currently thousands of people throughout Australia desperately unwell and absolutely devastated from not being heard and recognised.
So I think this is happening across the board with all illness. There is a lack of acknowledgement that Australians are getting sick and that we're getting sicker. And we have $1 trillion health industry that is, creating an exponential cost for Australians, but nobody's asking, why are we getting sick? And I think Lyme is part of that. I mean, this needs to be addressed, where they're saying, oh, let's just build more hospitals, let's have more doctors and nurses. Well, how about getting to the root cause of what is actually creating all this disease? And that is what concerns me. And, our Federal Health Minister, Greg Hunt, his passion is mental health illness. Now, you're just sitting there telling me these people want to commit suicide. They don't want to live anymore. I was that sick that I wanted to die too. My whole body was covered in eczema. I was aching all over. And, I did want to die. I was so sick. And do you know what that immunologist said to me when I said, can we do some more tests? She said, no, we've got 50 more drugs to try. Now, that is disgusting. We want to know why we are getting sick, and we are not getting the answers. And I think the Australian government needs somebody, we need somebody in there that is going to address these serious health concerns. And definitely
when you say,
that's my passion.
Sorry, before I lose track of that, when you say the doctor said I've got 50 more drugs to try, every single one of those drugs has listed side effects. And you're already unwell, and she's trialling a drug on you who you're already extremely unwell. Your immune system's obviously shot.
Yes.
I mean, this is absolutely disgusting that our health system would even do that to someone who's already sick.
This is the thing. We're an experiment. The drugs are an experiment. The scientists and doctors are not that smart. They haven't figured out genetics, and they actually haven't allocated certain drugs for certain people. So even though we're told the science is settled and the doctors are gods, and that that we've got this magic be all end all, interestingly, they can't cure people of disease. And for people like me, I was in the way too hard basket. And I was just shoved from specialist to specialist. I mean, even the rheumatologist, he said, oh, you don't have lupus. I go, yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. But what do I have? You know, like, and he repeated it 10 times. You don't have lupus. And I'm sitting there going, well, great. Again, what do I have? And nobody could help me. You know, even the dermatologist at the time, I paid $330 to go see him. And he sat there. The treatments in 25 years for eczema has not changed. I saw a dermatologist 25 years ago and the treatments are still the same. And I'm sitting there going, you kidding? If science is so good in 25 years, why hasn't there been a change? And, you know, he said to me, he said, allergies have nothing to do with eczema. Now, I know I can go out and drink a glass of red wine and end up bright red and covered in eczema. Now, he sat there and told me that allergies have nothing to do with eczema. We are in an archaic system. The health system isn't working for us. They're not addressing the real issues. The research that they're doing is the wrong research. I think, you know, pharmaceutical companies are funding the studies and they are looking for outcomes for their drugs. They're not looking at the root cause of these health issues. And that is what needs to be addressed. And Lyme is another one. I would love to get in there and go to bat for all those out there suffering all those diseases, because there has to be an answer somewhere. There has to be. And I think you and I, Allona, have really found a lot of answers. We've done a lot of things steps to really improve our health, and it has worked. It's worked really well. There are steps that people can take, but obviously sometimes those steps aren't accessible to everybody. Some of the treatments or the remedies, the changes in lifestyle that you can make can be expensive. Things like organic food. Like we really need to cut down all the sprays on foods and have more accessible, healthy food, water, all of those things that your party is standing for. So that's really great that your party is doing that. Yeah, look, I'm against the chemicals, the insecticides, the pesticides, the fluoride in our water, the constant barrage of chemicals in our houses and all that sort of thing, like being super sensitive after the hepatitis B vaccine and having those 7 years of health hell, I became very aware of, you know, what I put on my skin, what I take internally, my environment. So I think, again, the Australian government is just willy-nilly pandering to big corporations and allowing our food to be sprayed, allowing food that isn't food on our shelves, and people are eating it and expecting to be healthy. Good health will not come from popping a pill and going to a doctor and eating the food on the supermarket shelves. It is not going to happen. That is not a healthy lifestyle and a healthy living. But who says that in government? Have you heard anyone say that in government? Not one person. And, you know, this needs to be addressed, because without good health, we don't have a life. Without a beautiful, clean environment and a healthy lifestyle or a healthy planet, we don't have anywhere to go anyway. So I see health and the environment and what we stand for with freedom of choice and the right to choose body and autonomy and what goes into our body without the coercion, blackmail and bullying. I see that as a vitally important issue. I think one of the most important issues, because you can't eat money, you know, and the health system it shouldn't be the cost that it is. And as we know, pharmaceutical industries are lobbying big our government, and we are creating health epidemics. So we need to address all those sorts of stuff. So, yeah, keen to get in there, Di.
That is wonderful, Allona. I just, you know, I wish you all the very best, because, as you say, there is nothing more important than the health of ourselves, our children and our loved ones. And it'll be absolutely fantastic to have you in Senate and really pushing those issues for the rights and health of Australians.
Yeah, no, thank you, Di. So I just want to explain quickly, if you do want to vote for us, as I said, we have candidates in the Senate, so all of New South Wales, all of WA and all of Queensland can vote for the Involuntary Medication Objectors Party. We are on the big white ballot paper, which is the Senate ballot. So when you go to vote, you actually get two pieces of paper. You get a green one, which is your local electorate, the House of Reps. And then the big white one is the whole state, and that's the Senate. Now, you can vote above the line, 1 to 6, or you can vote 1 to 12 below the line. So, look, I think it's vitally important Australians realise if we keep voting the same, we are going to get the same. So if you keep voting Liberal, Labor or Greens, we are not going to have change. They've already proven that they don't care about what the people say with, like, the Lyme Senate inquiry. I attended the No Jab, No Pay about vaccination Senate inquiry. They didn't care what the people had to say. So they are not listening. So time for everyone to vote differently, and let's get different people in there to give the people of Australia a voice. And that's what I want to do. So I just wanted to be really clear on that. So make sure you vote correctly and you've got it right. So, Di, you better get voting.
Oh, believe me, I know exactly who I'm voting for.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. So thanks for all that you do in the community, and you know, it's shows like this that are going to raise awareness and help make change here in Australia. So thank you.
Thank you, Allona, and all the very best.
Yeah, thanks, Di. Bye.
Yay. Okay, I'll stop the recording and